Episode 2: The Forest Secret. It had been weeks since Papa's funeral. Auntie Esi was gone, but the house still felt heavy with her presence. I kept hearing the creak of the door at night, footsteps on the veranda, and soft whispers in the wind. One evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to Mama Akojua, the old woman who had warned me about Auntie Esi. Her house was small but comforting, filled with the smell of herbs and the sound of her prayer beads clicking softly in her hands. I told her everything about the strange things Auntie Esi had said and done, about Popo's sudden death, and the scratches on the ground near the well. She listened quietly, her eyes dark and serious. When I finished, she leaned forward and whispered, "Your stepmother was no ordinary woman. She went to the forest for power." "What power?" I asked, my voice shaking. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood and rummaged through an old box, pulling out a small bundle wrapped in cloth. Inside was a carved wooden talisman, painted with symbols I didn't understand. "You must wear this," she said, handing it to me. "And never go near the forest again." But curiosity gnawed at me. That night, I waited until the house was quiet and crept out to the edge of the forest. I couldn't help it, I had to see what Auntie Esi had done there. The path was dark, the trees towering over me like silent watchers. I clutched the talisman tightly as I walked deeper into the woods. Then I saw it. A clearing, marked with strange symbols carved into the ground and smeared with what looked like ash and blood. In the center was a small pile of bones, animal, I hoped, but I wasn't sure. Suddenly, the air grew cold, and I heard a faint whisper. It was her voice. Auntie Esi's voice. "Efua." I froze. The whisper turned into a laugh, soft and mocking. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to run. When I got back to the house, I bolted the door and sat trembling in the dark. The talisman in my hand felt warm, almost alive. I knew then that Auntie Esi's presence wasn't gone. She was still watching. "The things in the forest don't forget," Mama Akojua said. "And they don't forgive." The next morning, I went back to Mama Akojua, shaking as I told her what I had seen. Her face turned grim. "She made a pact," she said, "with the spirits of the forest. They gave her power, but it came at a price." "What price?" I asked. Mama Akojua didn't answer. Instead, she lit a small fire and threw herbs into it, chanting under her breath. The smoke rose in spirals, and for a moment, I thought I saw shapes in it, shadows, eyes, and something sharp, like claws. "You've stepped where you shouldn't have," she finally said. "Now they know you." I didn't understand, but strange things started happening after that. At night, I heard footsteps around the house. The smell of smoke and ash filled the air, though no one had lit a fire. Once, I woke up to find scratches on the walls of my room, long, deep gouges that hadn't been there before. The whispers came back, too. They weren't just in the forest anymore. They were in the house, following me wherever I went. One night, as I lay awake, I heard something outside my window. A soft rustling, like fabric brushing against wood. I turned, and there she was, Auntie Esi, standing in the moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, and her smile was as cold as ever. "You shouldn't have gone to the forest, Efua," she said. Her voice was calm, almost kind. "Now you've brought them here." Before I could scream, she was gone, leaving only the sound of laughter echoing in the dark. The next day, I found Mama Akojua again. "How do I stop this?" I begged. She shook her head. "It's not you they want," she said. "It's your stepmother. But until she is dealt with, the spirits will keep coming." I didn't know what she meant, but I knew one thing, Auntie Esi wasn't done with me. And neither were the things in the forest.